They're guys. They do magic. They are the Magic Guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Magic Guys. It's episode 152. To my left, we got Nick K.
Happy New Year, bitches!
Down below, we got Doug Kahn.
What's up, y'all? Happy 2024.
Oh, yeah. Happy 2024. That was exceptionally timed, Doug. I don't know if you planned that.
Want to, when you don't know. Oh, look at this. We're celebrating.
Oh, far out. Doug is on point this year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
He just out-texts us every week. Every goddamn week.
But Fortune favors the prepared. I don't even know what's going on in my world.
Oh, yeah, we never do. None of us
I
do.
tried to fix it a week ago. Someone sent me, they're like, Doug, here's how you fix it. And I started reading it, and about halfway through, I realized it's directions for Windows. And I'm like, that's not going to work for me. I'm on the Mac. And it's like, no.
You just got to accept it, I guess. At least there's nothing weird like slot stickers or something that just show up.
Someone tonight can send me the directions in chat. If you can find the treasure map that lets me unlock the secret to stopping this celebration that I get when I don't want it,
Isn't that why you have kids? You know, when it's like, come in here. Like, that's what my dad was for. It was like, come and fix up the television. And then you got to like program or something or other, you know?
All I've learned about having kids is all the plans about having kids go out the window when you have kids. Like, I'm going to get some dishwashing done. I'm going to have laundry folding and no.
You know what? I would have kids because I just probably want to play with their toys.
I'll tell you, I took my grandkids out to it's like a Dave and Buster's, a little joint they built over here. We did some juvenile gambling. I had 3 granddaughters with me. They spent the night, had magic party. They all got homemade magic kits from Grandpa Doug, and it's so nice to see them really dig in. And like I had a 6-year-old, their new stepbrother, and then the 3 granddaughters, and they all had a great time for a couple hours. And as my youngest granddaughter was leaving, she showed me the dice bomb. She said, Grandpa Doug, pick a number, and she dice bombed it.
Great.
Wow. And then for their birthdays, are they all getting access to learnsleightoфhand.com?
My guess is they'll be over magic in about 3 weeks, and I'll never have to give another magic trick. But if they like it, yes, of course.
Oh yeah.
Well, if they're being indoctrinated by all the tickets you can win at the Dan and Dave Busters sort of thing, they'll probably be gamblers very soon. And it would be in their best interest to learn some card sleights.
And that joint's like $75 an hour to take a few kids there. You go in there. It's not like the old days when you take $5 to the arcade and play Pac-Man for 3 hours.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. But the times they are changing. The times changing. Our calendars are turned over to 2024.
Did you see the short? Hold on. I got one more thing. My grandkids cheating at skee ball.
No.
Oh yeah, I did see that. And they suck.
You must be so proud.
So there, I pull up on them. I'm just going to stick this in the. Hopefully, it'll pick it up. And they're trying to throw it in. She misses. And she misses.
Wow.
Misses and then gives up. And then the ball goes in, and she misses, and the ball goes in, and they completely lose.
Oh, so for the listeners, they were literally hands under the cage trying to they could have dunked it in there and they kept missing. That is hilarious. But
it's like
guys,
ball 6 and they have 100 points.
Oh,
how does
hilarious.
that even cheating?
Yeah. But guys, again, it is a new year, 2024. Thank you for being here. In the audience, we have our good friends. We have Scotti P, who is a little under the weather. He was doing some backflips, if anyone was asking, and did himself a mischief. We'll hear about that a bit later. Johnny Prentice, thanks for being here, buddy. And fun news, his kid turned 16 yesterday. Happy birthday to Prentice Jr.
The good news is 2 more years and you're off the hook. Once they're legal, you're good. So you're almost there.
Yeah, 2 more years, buddy, and then they're out the door. Seth, thanks for being here, friends. We always love when you guys are around. You guys are probably, to some degree, either too hungover to be here or hung enough to hang out with us. Thank
you for being hung enough.
I'm hung enough.
Hey, why don't we start? Why don't we start the episode with a voicemail we had come in? We had one come in from Billy Fisher last week, and he's got a bit of an update for us.
Cool. Just to preface this, guys, the theme of today is talking about New Year's resolutions, all the things that we want to sort of achieve this year, things we want to change. And we put the word out to you guys. Even at the very beginning of this video, if you're watching on YouTube, there is a link to do your speak pipes. We love hearing from you guys on the speak pipes. And so thank you guys for submitting your speak pipes. What does our friend have to say today?
Hey guys, little background before the question here. My wife and I have a toddler and we just brought home twins about 2 months ago. And so I have really been struggling to find time to practice. I got really into magic in February of this year, and I've learned mnemonica, I've learned how to pharaoh shuffle, a bunch of different false shuffles, as well as all sorts of sleights for different routines that I'm doing. I'm doing all sorts of stuff, obviously, out of mnemonica, a lot of Pitt Hartling stuff, David Blaine things that I've figured out that I like, a ton of Jason Ledany material that I really like, as well as some other guys, things that I've seen that I've also doing or have their books, and it's been a lot of fun going through books and burning decks of cards and learning this stuff. So anyway, to my point, while my practice time has dwindled a lot, obviously, can you guys give me some tips or tricks or advice on how to maximize my practice time? I recently started trying to learn how to bottom and second deal, or more so make it good, which I know is a very long pursuit, maybe even diving into the tabled pharaoh here soon, but it's difficult with finding time. So Doug, you had a family whenever you were a magician. Nick, Josh, you guys have talked about relationships in the past that have come in, into conflict with finding practice time. How can I maximize that time? What does your structured practice time look like? Or what did it look like back in the day when you were learning? What can I do to maximize that? Should I be practicing polished routines? Should I be learning, new sleights? Should I be, how should I set that up? That's what I'm asking without saying too much. Love the podcast. Thank you.
Big love, Billy. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
First
Billy.
of all, you said too much, but
lots of info.
No, Billy,
lots of
thank
info
you
there.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing, Billy. And I think the answer to this is you need to tell your family that you're going out for a pack of smokes and then get in the car. Don't come back.
lesson
You have
number
all the
one,
spare time in the
Vanishing
world.
dad trick.
Yeah. Look, I think we all have views on this, right? And but before we get into it, the first thing is you freaking said you started magic in February, and you've just named all this stuff in 10 months, like mnemonica,
The
table,
students
pharaohs,
these days.
Danny's material. Are you
Man.
kidding me? That stuff is like
jeez.
Jedi level stuff. So,
Must be nice
I commend you. We commend you for your effort.
To have access to all this great learning material, obviously.
Josh is saying must be nice to have access. When you grow up with YouTube, I don't even want to hear it from you, young man.
Look, I had Miss Mag 822 and the card trick teacher, and
I had a
Field
Xerox
Magic,
machine and a prayer.
nice.
That was my tech. Like if you could get a copy of a lecture note, you were doing good.
Okay.
Hell yeah! All right, let's start with Doug. I reckon Doug start because he mentioned having a family that's pretty similar to what he's now going through.
Yeah. Okay. So here's things. Find time to practice in your work and when you exercise and every nook and cranny and when they're napping. It's going to be hard for a couple of years, but then they'll grow up. You're going to have a couple bumpy years. I'm kind of like not the most qualified to answer this because I had the luxury of working as a magician with a family. So I was either street performing and practicing and working things out that way, or I was working as a magic demonstrator and practicing things at the counter. But my job wasn't to practice. Again, I just found time to practice in between the moments of the job to make it happen. So yeah, it's tough, but look, it's brief. Everything's temporary. So just enjoy those children. That's the best thing in life.
Definitely. And I think if I may chime in for a sec, because I've always been someone who's been relatively time poor and a bit of a workaholic for all of his life. And one of the things that I do with regards to practicing is you're going to create a relationship with your playing cards. We'll use cards just for the example. Okay. If you take the notion of self-care, okay, meaning like taking the time to have a cup of tea, to sit quietly, all that kind of stuff, okay? If you treat it as a luxury, okay, you are really going to do some damage to yourself in the long run, and you'll be on your way to the burnout zone. But if you treat your little self-care as a necessity, and what I mean by that is even if it's something as simple as a 30 minutes to yourself before bed, your relationship with playing cards becomes one of relaxation. Because I used to work all day at a desk job, and I would get home and then I would practice, and that's how I would unwind. And the cool thing about that is when you practice with purpose, being to like, I'm here to learn something, but I'm also here to unwind at the same time. You have this amazing relationship with cards that's relaxing. And if you stay on this path where I'm just going to chill out for a little bit, even if it's like the wife's like, babe, we're going to watch a movie. Cool. Can I just tinker while we watch together? And you sit with her and you tinker with your cards and you practice your seconds, and you just get a hat and dual seconds into a hat and then just pick them up again and just practice for 2 hours while you're watching the movie with her and engaging in conversation. Super chill. It's one of relaxation. And the beauty of that is that when it comes time to perform, you won't be nervous because you're so comfortable, and your relationship with holding cards and doing sleights is one of relaxation. So again, just to synopsize it, it's like practice for short amounts of time, frequently with intent. You're going to focus on one thing.
That's science, actually. If you practice in short bursts, muscle memory is accumulated in 15 to 20 minutes. If you do it beyond that, it's not benefiting you very much. So if you're going to practice longer, switch to a different task.
Yeah.
So that's a way to better your practice time.
Yeah. Leave decks around the house. Leave one in the toilet. Leave one on the coffee table. Leave one in the office.
I practice in my car. I've had a couple of friends that are surprised when I'm palming coins when I'm driving. They'll hear coins jingle in my hand. And they're like, oh, you practice when you drive? And I'm like, well, you don't? It's like, what a great time to palm a coin. Why aren't you palming now?
Yeah. That wise words. What?
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, much you want to add to that, Josh?
Yeah, what can I add? I mean, I will say there's practicing stuff you already do is one thing. And for me, it's what Nick said, having decks around the house. Like there's one in the living room. There's one here that's just not in a box. So I just sit down and I literally just pick it up and we'll shuffle. I do keep a deck in my car, absolutely, in my glove box, because you never know when you just like you're at the mechanics and you bring up Magic and you're like, let me blow your mind for a second. It's just fun. And coins, yeah, definitely. So the amount of times I practice like JW grip while I'm driving to like coin roll and like things like that in the other hand, not driving.
Even a finger palm there is fine, just
Absolutely.
Comfortable with the finger palm. And that's like not even interfering with anything.
100%. So, but then the other thing is what I find I'm time poor with right now is learning new stuff. When I have to sit down and consume something, that's the part that I find hard to find time to do because, for example, we got sent Lucky Ladybug, right? And simple, beautiful effect. But I've had it sitting here for like a month and just not had the time to watch the download yet. And I only just over the weekend had time because I'm sick. So I physically couldn't leave the house. So I'm like, all right, there's 3 things here I know I need to watch and I've been really excited to do, but I just haven't had any time. And I just sat down and made myself watch it. Like I got Henry Harris's, what's it called? Cube Buster, the 7x7. And I was so excited. To start putting some work on it, but I just haven't had any freaking time, which is so annoying. So, and I don't have kids, which
that's surprising. I figured you'd have been all over that day one.
So did I. It's because what's happened. Anyway, everyone's busy, right? But so for me, it was making specific time for that. Making specific time that I know I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do it. Otherwise, it's just way too easy to keep putting it off and off and off, and time just flies.
Yeah. If I could just off the tail of that is such a good point where, we might, I don't know, in relationships might be a little difficult at times, but the reality is that like we're not out at the club and we're not out hitting on girls and we're not at the pub pounding piss and getting into fist fights. Like we just want to sit in a little bit of quiet and have a little time to ourselves to read and write and to practice and to enjoy our art form. You know what I mean? And so I only bring this up in the assumption that you might get a bit of pushback being like, well, what are you doing? Like I've got friends who are married and it's just like, all my husband does is play Call of Duty every time he's got a moment to himself. And it's like, well, maybe he needs that. It's hard to gauge, but when it comes time to be a dad, I'm sure he steps up, and just be 100 whenever you can, The
only thing I can add, I'm not a dad, so I can't, but from my friends that are dads, the thing they've said that's changed now is that their day starts 2 hours earlier than it used to, so they can get their own stuff done. They go to the gym, they do their editing, whatever before. Is that something you adopted, Doug?
For sure, I've embraced awaking at an early hour the last few years in particular, and it is something I did with my children my whole life. Even with them, it was 6:30 in the morning, but now I wake up at like 5, and I'm ready to get to work by 5:30. I'll be doing shuffles and deals or doing work online or whatever I need to do by 6.
Yeah, actually, sometimes in our Magic Guys group chat, you'll reply to stuff, and I'm like, dude, it's like 4 a.m. where Doug is. And you're like, yeah, I'm up.
Yeah.
Crazy impressive.
Yeah. I think that's part of getting older too. You just sleep less. So it's not always fun, but I use the time wisely most of the time.
Yeah. I think, Billy, to your point, it's kind of like this, right? Like there's folks out there that don't like to go to the gym, and there's guys out there who don't like to practice. If you want to equate this to someone who doesn't go to the gym, let's say I'm going to go for a run, but I'm walking. Like if it's a 5-mile run, I'm walking for 4 of those miles and I only ran for 1 of them. Maybe not the best output, maybe not the best result, but the reality is that I'm beating the guy who's still sitting on the couch. And so the very fact that you even spend 10 minutes working on something, 10 minutes doing Charlier cuts, 10 minutes of anything to do with magic, you are progressing. So enjoy it, which is what I meant to say when it comes to this self-care and this relaxation. Just enjoy that little moment of time that you have for yourself, and don't be too hard on yourself, because you'll carry this notion of like regret that you don't have time, and that's like the last thing you want. You just want to know what time you do have. You enjoy it. You enjoy your magic. You enjoy your family, because there's nothing better than that. Just enjoy.
That's the thing. That's what you need to really do for the next couple of years. You got a toddler and twins. Just love that while it's happening. And
there's also this weird FOMO thing that I've encountered where I thought, man, if I didn't have to do all of this driving and feeding horses and this and that and the other, I'd get so much done. I'd have so many more videos made and so much higher quality. And then my girlfriend went away for a week to visit her family in New Zealand. And you know how much extra work I got done? My content, my productivity did not actually raise with me having more time. It turned out that I would just spend the time that I did have wisely, but as soon as I had more time, I just took longer to do it. So there's also that case where you think you'll do more if you had more time, but you actually wouldn't. You just think you would.
The timing, I think, is a factor. I think the holiday times, especially when you've been working as hard as you have, your body and mind will take a time to say, you know what? No, let's dial it back for a bit,
Yeah. But Billy, great question, friend. Thank you so much for sending that through. I hope it's of some benefit. By all means, let us know how your progress is going. If you post any vids or things of that nature, let us know. We're a community. We want to see what you do. So
absolutely.
Yeah, just go by your own pace, and hopefully we get a chance to jam online someday. We'd love that. So power to you. We have another speak pipe?
Yeah, we've got Scotti P in the building in the chat, and he also sent through a New Year's resolution. Let's see what Scotty's planned for this year.
What's going on, Magic guys and girls? Scotti P, the mid-strength magician here. Wishing you all a happy new year, and just letting you know my New Year's resolution is to get my YouTube channel up and running again. I've had a good year off. Time to get stuck into it again. See ya.
See ya. Now, the first thing about promoting your YouTube, Scotty, is that you got to tell everyone what your YouTube is. But don't worry, I knew this might happen, so I just put it up in the chat here. YouTube/Scotti P SCOTTIP 4077.
Scotty, and just for the record, Scotty, like I'll speak on my behalf and not on behalf of the whole group, but I personally love everything you've done for us. I was having lunch yesterday with David Williamson, and I was showing him some of your videos that you'd done for us, and especially the one with the 2 coffees and the bottle of water and holding in my pee. And that is one of the best vids and one of the best, like to me, like one of the best gifts I've ever received in my life. So You're an amazing talent, and anything we can do to help you along with that journey, like by all means, like lean on us. You have our full support. And anyone listening to this, please take it upon yourselves. Go scope out the link that we put and show Scotti some love.
Yeah. And like Patrick's saying in the chat, you can put it in the Discord. And there is a Discord for the Magic guys, but obviously, as Patrick's saying, it's pretty quiet in there because originally it was set up with the intent that we'd have lots of action going on there. But it turned out only Doug really knows how to use Discord well.
I have no idea how to use it.
But look, I got guys that use it. So there might be guys that'll use it because there's Magic guys on the Discord now, probably more so than there was back when we were being cutting edge 2 years ago.
Right.
Can I just, sorry to deter, but Doug, will you teach me how to use it so that I can have some contributions to that and help out? Like, if it's going to help.
I really don't know that much.
Okay.
Yes, but
there's probably some tutorial
guys tell
online.
me things are like, you could do this and this and this, and I'm like, I don't have a clue what's going on here. So I say sure, but
well, that's one of my New Year's resolutions, which I'll touch upon when it comes time to talk about each other's things. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. We have one more speak pipe to go. But yes, Scotti, again, thanks for supporting us. We definitely want to support you.
You name dropping Williamson. We're coming back to this. Had lunch with Williamson. Name drop. I want to hear about that.
Casually.
Yeah, absolutely. But this last speak pipe is from Raghav.
Hello, Magic guys. It's Raghav. My New Year's resolution is to prepare for getting selected on Penn Teller Fool Us.
Ooh.
Wow, that's
okay,
epic.
Short and sweet. I like it.
Yeah, that's epic.
I want to see that happen.
Yeah, so that is a really, really epic thing to do. To create something that's going to be that fooling. It can only work in your favor, man. If you get in the show, like there's going to be millions of people who will see your face and support you in that way. So by all means, like,
let's be clear, the pursuit of the goal is the win.
Yeah.
And if you get on, well, that's the cherry on top. But just having the vision and trying for that is the win.
Yeah, and the worst case scenario at the end of that is that you'll have an entirely amazing piece of magic at the end of it, regardless if you get on the show or not. So, if you fall short of that goal, there's no shame in that at all. What the old saying is, aim for the moon and land on a star. It is, that is an amazing goal to have. And you should aim huge. You should try to finish the moon. I heard a guy's going to do that sometime.
Hey.
I've heard if you get on, if you can slip that chick a 20, it ups your chances a little bit. If you can, it's a Vegas trip. You just, how you doing?
I didn't know that.
One of those.
Yeah, but that's great. And again, you have our support. If you want to share a vid with us every now and again, but hey guys, what do you think of this? Like, by all means, like we are there for you guys. So that is super cool, man.
And talk about my friend Brent Braun, the Magic Firm. Brent is a proven winner on Penn Teller's Fool Us. He has curated a few guys on that show. And if you're real serious about it, anyone listening to this, look up JB Magic Firm, Brent Braun, and get some professional help. He has produced winners. So there's some great advice for you. You got to spend money, though, if you care enough.
Pro tip.
Penn Teller Fool Us. Are you watching what performances are going on there these days?
I haven't watched any of this season. How about that?
Yeah.
Same.
Have you?
Well, we can only watch it on YouTube. We don't really have the luxury here in Oz. Like, it's not really broadcasted on anything we have here, right?
Yeah. The clips show up every day. It's
Okay.
interesting that the clips show up every day in my feed, like a new magician, but I don't get the inkling to click on it. And I wonder if it's just because there's been so many seasons now.
Yeah.
And I mean, if I see someone I recognize, I click on it straight away. But yeah,
I haven't watched any of it. I've seen a few clips on YouTube, and that's what I kind of assume. Like when I don't watch it, I'm like, yeah, but I'm going to see the good ones on YouTube probably. But now I'm just saying these words. I feel like an idiot for not watching it.
All right, let's all
watch Fool Us. It's a great show.
Well,
we should have a watch party and just
we should. That would be a great idea, because I think ultimately that we have so many hours in a day, and we have so many goals we're trying to do. Doug is getting this amazing course off the ground. I've got agencies to run and magicians
That's
to
a
teach,
fact.
and so some things need to give. You need to not go, on the mountain biking every day because you're going to spend that time hanging out with certain people. Like my family's in town. I would love to sit here and make videos all day, but instead I'm going to take my nieces and nephews mini golf like in a couple of hours from now. So
I could never imagine scheduling time to watch that show when it airs, like having to be there for the live, and then so now I have to watch it on the app or online, and then what happens? Exactly what happened now, because time is precious these days.
Yeah, what I want to watch.
What's that?
I'm going to watch Dynamo is Dead special, and
I do want to see that.
It was on in the UK, and I can't find how to watch it in Australia. Like it debuted on whatever their primetime TV is.
I would love to see.
Anyone in the chat know? Is there? It's obviously not on YouTube, but is it accessible?
How do we get that?
Is it like on the BBC site or something that we can have access to, or? We'll have to do our diligence at some point. But again, and here's the thing. I'm that type of guy that when I'm trying to watch something at length, long form movies, for example, it takes me like 3 goes to do that because I'll pop it on and then I'll black out like, halfway through the thing. Because my buddy knows, hey, if you're staying still, you're probably in bed.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
And I fell asleep on Spider-Man Multiverse the other night. It took me 2 watches for the best movie I saw last year. Like, how did I fall asleep on that? I don't even know, but it happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I know how you feel.
If you haven't seen Spider-Man Into the Multiverse, oh my God. This
is it good?
Awesome. Everyone's seen it except me. I'm the latecomer, I guess.
Well, I was told to scope out Wonka because apparently it's very magician-y type. Like he's very magical.
For sure. I'd love to see that one. Yeah, I've heard it's good too, which is a miracle.
The one movie I'm dying to see is Ferrari, but that's because I'm a race head, like I'm a car guy, so but so again, great speak pipes. I hope that's of some benefit, and it's just so cool. I think I think it's great just to tell the community and people what you're into and what you want to try and achieve. So and the reason I think it's good to talk about this is that I genuinely, personally, if I may have the floor for a second, I was sort of struggling to gauge what I wanted to do with like the next step with myself, because I had certain goals that I wanted to achieve by the end of the year. And in truth, I didn't think I was going to be able to achieve them. Turns out at the end of September, I achieved all my personal goals that I wanted to achieve. And I spent the remaining months of the year going, what do I do now? Like, what do I do next? And so I've had to ponder that a lot as to like, where do we go from here? And if I could, and it just takes, you have to sort of take a moment to reflect upon that. And when I talk about reflection, I had lunch with one of my magic heroes. This guy makes up 40% of my magic DNA, like the playfulness, the joy, like there's something that I identify with him. The intent for his magic is for none other than to entertain and make smile. And that's where I feel like my hero, David Williamson, is so influential on me. And so he texted me like, what's up? Because he's in town doing his circus show 1903. And I was like, let's do lunch. And so we went out to just a quiet little pub, he and I over a table, and we just talked. And it's so crazy that when you're sitting opposite someone that you thought was so like inaccessible, you know what I mean? I try to explain the equivalent to people. It's like, imagine like you're so deeply in love with Taylor Swift and now she has your number and she's like, I'm in town, do you want to hang out? Like that's kind of the equivalent for me, to the point where like he's a friend. Like it is just so bonkers. Because when 1903 first came to town, he reached out to me to consult on the show, and we worked on like 3 effects together that we built for the actual show. And I got a credit in the and I got a credit in the program up there. That's just up on my shelf. Nice. And and it's question
for magicians. Let's be honest here. When he reached out to you, like you say, he reached out to you to consult. What does that exactly mean? Like he put the feelers out there and people like, this is the guy you need, or?
Oh, actually, so it happened to inadvertently. So he had reached out to Tim Ellis, who is one of our FISM winners and the more senior, the president of our Institute of Magic and so forth. And he was going, I'm working on some effects. I need help on this. I need help on that. And Tim was like, you got to talk to Nick because Nick knows A, B, C, and D, what we worked on. And so I was like, cool. And you know, I brought the illusions that I had on me that he needed. I have a particular type of head drop that I designed alongside my best friend. I like the effect, and I was like, I think it's done like this. And then my best friend from high school, or his name is Peter Olivares, and he has a engineering company. And when I showed him what I thought how the illusion worked, he literally looked me in the eyes and said, "You're an idiot." And in the space of 6 minutes, drew a CAD drawing of how it should work. And when I designed it and showed it to him and everyone else, he was like, "This is not what we think it is." And it's an amazing. It's very different because the way it works is like you can actually take your jacket off and move on with your routine, and like you don't have to take a long time getting set up into it. It kind of clips into your belt buckle, and this has all been designed by my friend. And so,
you're talking about the standing head drop, not the.
I'm talking about I'm talking about like as in like you have your jacket, gotcha. You do your silk through neck, and your head falls off, and you catch your head. That type of thing. Gotcha. Yeah. And so and he goes, very nice. And he goes, this is
a great combo. Idea. I don't think I've seen it done that way. Great combo.
Yeah. Oh, I'll post some vids about it. I'll dig them up on my old phone and we'll do it. But that was the connection we had, and it was funny because like prior to that, I'd met him when I was working the merchandise when the Illusionist toured, but he was just one of the cast, and I was just one of the merch guys, and I was nobody. And then years later, it's like, come and help me with my show. Crazy,
That's crazy, hey?
Yeah,
full circle. I think we all got to do. Oh, not all of us, but I also got to do the merch for the Illusionist 2.0, and it was like some of the best fun watching every show, and they're like the celebrities that you look up to, and then you start getting to know them like over the next 10 years.
I was supposed to see them last week in New Orleans. They canceled the show.
No.
Last show of the run, and they canceled it. Had tickets 6 row back middle, and didn't happen.
How bizarre. How bizarre.
Here, whatever. It's this city. This is just not a magic theater city. It's like,
Yeah, but look, it's just one of those things that you have a little moment of reflection and gauge where you are, you know what I mean? And how the community see you and so forth. And I mean, I ain't nobody, you know what I mean? I don't take it upon myself to try and impress magicians. They're not going to hire me. But but when I was sitting with Dave, and I want to share this with you guys, he was like, "That's weird." It's like, I don't really want to be a public figure, and I don't want like everyone to know my name, but I wish that the magic community knew who I was more. I wish that people were like, I wish that people at Murphy's were like, "Do you know Nick Kay?" I wish the people in like the States were like, "Do you know Nick Kay from Australia?" Like, and then he goes, "Why?" And I went, "I don't know." I think
I know why. I think.
Tell me.
Because I think not for you specifically, but I think because I have that same feeling every now and then, and I think it's because you just want people to appreciate like what you know or what you can do in the field of us all doing that. Like it's a weird vibe. Like at Magic Live, I would look around and be like, we'd probably have so much more to talk about if like I knew all the stuff you did and you knew all the stuff I did.
I think it's because I got
something like that.
My goal in attaining a bit of notoriety was to meet other magicians of notoriety. Having a name that gives you access to some doors that might not be open if you didn't. So that was kind of my incentive when I was considering a book or a DVD. Magazines, things like that.
Yeah, I kind of have a friend who he's an amazing student of magic, and he loves it, and he writes notes, and he's been in my lectures, and he's a personal friend of mine who I love to bits, who I hire for events, and he basically ghost writ my first lecture, which was called the Bible lecture, and the Bible stands for Basic Instructions for Being a Leading Entertainer, and it's basically it's a structure that you can use and go and have a career, but I share the routines that I have within that structure, and And he went and did all of my diligence for me. Like, and was like, this is a routine by this. And he credited like all the slides and stuff that I do. And he did everything.
Nice.
And so he's already half written it for me. And it's like, I should finish the Bible lecture book and like print it. But it's like, you know, it makes a point that it's like, maybe it's about validation. And I think it's not really that, because I don't need someone to tell me I'm great. I look at my invoices, I look at my career, I look at what I do for a living, and it's not about the money. That sounds egotistical, but money is purely the consequence of me doing what I do extremely well. If I sucked at it, I wouldn't have what I have. Like, I obviously have to be good at what I do. So that's all the validation I need personally. But I think for me, I think it's more so, I kind of feel like time's running out to some degree, and I want to give my magic away in that sense. Like, I want people to know about it and have it and influence them. And I think more so because the caliber of magic in Australia is very different to what's overseas. Look at, like, you know, like if we had to put 20 top magicians together in Australia, we'd struggle after 10 in this country.
Yeah, 20. Oh my God.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But if you had to get 20 in America, you would be biting your nails on who to axe, because there is so much good talent, and it's because they share and they jam with each other. Like a Blake Voigt knows a Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia knows Chris Kenner. Chris Kenner knows Copperfield. Copperfield knows everybody. Like, it's all about that, you know?
I mean, America is also a lot bigger. So there's a bigger sample size, obviously.
More people.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's about that. So, yeah. So
yeah, thanks, Tom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Tom
it that
said,
many more? 10 times more?
Yeah, you guys are huge.
350 million people versus 30 million people.
The melting pot. No.
We're comparative. We're a young country too, comparatively. Like, we haven't been around as long. Like, I mean, we're talking, what was it 1776? Yeah, well, 1776 is when you guys became a thing, but obviously it predates that, and we've only been around for 100 years. So,
yeah,
not a long
Is
time.
that it? Really?
Yeah, I think
Wow.
Australia. I'm going to check with Google. I'm going to mute myself.
Yeah, because the UK sent all their criminals overflowing in the jails to Australia, and here we are. Wow, it's so quiet without Nick.
Happy New Year. Let me get
Happy
this
New
thing
Year
back
indeed.
out. The party still.
Love it. Love it. What do you, I mean, we know one major thing you're working on for this year, Doug, but do you have many things in your mind, or are you sort of tunnel vision focus for?
So I have
2024?
3 New Year's resolutions. The first one is to not disappoint myself with unreasonable New Year's resolutions. That's what happened this year. Actually, I'm not even disappointed, but I missed all my goals. Anyway, that's fine though. The win is making the goals. And then I have 2 other goals, and one of them is to get my second deal back in shape. So that's a goal, you know.
Ooh.
Get a good push off second going, you know what I mean? And then build the best learning resource for the novice magician who's interested in the sleight of hand arts. We'll do that.
That's a beautiful goal. And you know what? I think that's all entirely achievable as well, you know, like,
Yeah.
And, you know, ordinarily when you put stuff like out this to the universe, like, you think that people need to help you, but that's so just, you got this, you know what I mean? Like, you don't need any help at all. You got everything you need to do that. That's a nice feeling.
Have you sort of made, you don't have to share them, but like, do you have sort of numbers in mind for like how many people you want to be learning from your website by like the 6-month mark, year mark?
I'll tell you, a nice goal for me would be to transition my YouTube audience. My membership there is 150 members. And if I could get somewhere in that ballpark moving over to learn sleight of hand, that'd be great. It all boils down to marketing, and this will be a business endeavor. And I'll be spending a considerable portion of my life on TikTok doing sleight of hand magic and telling people where they can learn it. This will be part of my job now. So you'll be seeing me do that there in the coming months.
Yeah, that's great, because now every time you're performing, there's a
you want to learn that?
They can go and learn that. Yeah.
Yeah. But look, it's this, and here's the New Year's resolution. You want it, and if you're interested in doing magic on social media, here's what should be your New Year's resolution too. Benefit your viewer. Give your viewer a benefit, make them grow, make them learn, make them laugh, make them cry or get mad. That's maybe not a benefit, but don't do it just for you. Do it for the eyeballs watching you.
Yeah.
Well, it is about giving, isn't it? You know what I mean? So if you were going to gift someone something, you would want to say, you know, like a pair of socks might be appropriate for some people and not for some others.
I just think at its best, it's that. And the people that accomplish this, the strongest win the most, with everybody winning in the process. It's like, you know, like here's my first goal with this course I'm building. 3 lessons, 10 lessons, get started now. And I want those 10 lessons to be all a magician needs. Like if you don't get any further than that, you're going to have enough material to be a professional if you want. You can go do restaurant work, street work, even perhaps a stage show with my 10 free lessons. This is my goal. Give that to the students who need it. And then if they'd like to grow beyond that, I'll be waiting for, you know, $10 a month or $100 a year. And I hope that some people will consider that option too.
Yeah. Is TikTok Live still the best place for new viewership?
So I'm confident that I can get upwards of 10 to 50,000 eyeballs an hour on that platform. And my research in marketing these kind of things suggests that having a social media influencer market your online course is one of the best avenues to do so. And I'm like, oh, good, I do that. So it's like,
yeah,
you know, I don't have to invest in that. I just got to go to work a little bit, you know. And fortunately, I really do enjoy spending time doing that on TikTok. It's that we were talking about the time reward ratio. The time I spend on TikTok doesn't benefit me enough to allow me to do that for hours on end. It's like $10 an hour these days, you know. But if I have a marketable product that I'm pointing people to as they're tipping me and doing all the other things, now I can make that more part of my life, and I would like to. So winning, let's do it.
That's so great. The power of marketing.
Yeah,
days.
hard work too, though. It's like nonstop,
no doubt.
Day, night.
Like who knew that your days demoing magic in the magic store would be like coming full circle to now you're doing it for your own products, but on TikTok. Nick, what's your focus, or one of them for this year?
The one of them that kind of springs to mind now is that I have a bunch of stuff that I am stuck with regards to creating, and that puts me in a position where I'm stuck with a particular effect, and I keep saying I wanna do a trick where this. So I'm stuck in this I wanna phase, and I can't get past it because I haven't quite figured out the methods. And my goal this year is to go from the I wanna to I'm gonna. And I'm done talking about this. So I'm done talking about like, here's what I want to do. And I'm halfway there. I'm like, no, I'm gonna finish this effect if it freaking kills me. Like, and so I just started.
How do you go about implementing that? Are you setting a date where you're going to do these effects at a show at the end of the year, or
my goal is to achieve all my effects by the end of the year. That's it. And the sooner I get them done, the sooner I can drill them, because my goal is ultimately to create magic that I want to see. There's tricks I want to see. There's things I would like to, I want to be the guy that makes them. Like, we all know what would be the coolest thing ever. It would be so cool. But why would I sit around going, I wish someone would do that? It's like, no, I'm going to do that. And I want to do it so well that if or when I get the phone call saying, can you please come on telly and do this on television for whoever's got talent, I'll just be like, yeah, this is just what I do on my day-to-day. I do it all the time. So I'm not sitting there with these nerves being like, I created it just for this effect. I've done it twice. It might go wrong. Like, no. I know this in and out, and I'm so comfortable and confident with what I'm trying to do today. That is the main goal. So and when I made the list of like my goal, all I did was wanna versus gonna.
Yeah, so not if, but when.
Yeah. It's just
Yeah,
ain't
I
wanna.
think magicians might surprise themselves if they put a little elbow grease into creating and envisioning and problem solving these visions. It's maybe not as unattainable as you'd think to create your own magic.
Yeah.
And what a better world magic would be if that happened more.
Yeah.
Totally. Imagine if everyone created their own effects for their own shows. You know, it was amazing to watch was how much are you guys into Mario the Magician? Mario the Maker Magician.
Oh, the creator? Yeah, he's great.
So good.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Mario the Creator.
Yeah.
Man, it broke my heart. He was supposed to be at the Texas Association of Magicians this year. So looking forward to seeing him, and he didn't make it to the convention. And then next thing I know, he's in Edinburgh and killing it at the Fringe. And then he did the off-Broadway run in New York. And then he was on Jimmy Fallon last week. Mario.
Yeah.
Man.
Slaughter.
And only now, after seeing all of that, I realized he did a Penguin Live lecture. Like, I saw that advertised, and now I'm like, oh, damn, I'm going to go back and watch that because I didn't even know about it until all of this amazing stuff happened.
Oh, yeah, that's an old one. In fact, like, because of him, I was programming Arduinos because I kept talking to people about, like, in my engineering friends, like my friend Peter I was telling you about, and it's like, I need to make this thing for this animation I'm trying to do where like these cards jump out of a wine glass. I'm just trying to do these types of things. And like, yeah, man, I'll get around to it. I just went like, I'm gonna do it myself. And so I just learned how to program and just started programming Arduinos. Like I was just done.
That's so cool.
Yeah. But he influenced that. He was just like, you can do it. I'm like, I can. And that's what I mean by like earlier when I was saying like when you want to share with the magic community, it's like he did that and that influenced me. Like the thought that I can do that for someone else, that's so cool. What are your goals, Josh? Get over this flu?
Grow some hair back. No. Yeah, get over this flu.
Question to you. Would you get the hair plugs? Would you get it done?
Look, I did when I was younger. I did try the Ashley and Martin like hair regrowth serum stuff, the finasteride tablets to block the stuff that makes it happen. All that I did try that stuff.
Doesn't that kill your boner? That pills?
No.
Josh is like, no.
Again, not this one. No. Basically, the tablets that you would take blocks a certain strain of testosterone that's not associated with the bonerage, but rather one that isn't really used for anything, but it does. It's the one that creates the hair loss. Anyway, I tried all that stuff over the years, just whatever. It's a tedious thing. You're doing it every single day. It was kind of working, it just kind of like slowed everything from happening. Didn't really stop everything. And then I was like, all right, do I go to Turkey and get, hair plugs, or do I just try shaving it off? And I just went with shaving it off, and I'm sticking with it because it's fun.
You're a handsome bald man, sir. Be proud.
Yeah.
And I wanted to join the club. You
make a good choice.
Welcome to the B team.
And it is great to just be able to, get ready every day, 10 minutes faster.
All right. Follow-up question. How gnarly are you going to get with your beard? Are you going to go the Justin Timberlake shade, the sexy one you have right now? Or are you going to go like the Nick K sort of Spartan Jared Butler type look? Or
good question.
Do you want to go the ZZ Top?
Yeah, the real you really should be asking that question to Sandy, not me, because it's like, what will she allow? And it's like, this is the length that she'll allow. Any more is like a bit too gross for her. She's not really a big fan of facial hair. So what it is. I mean, all right, that's fine. But in terms of actual goals for this year, the main focus, and I talk about it so much now, but this Brisbane Theatre of Magic is a big goal. To make as big of a thing. I love
hearing you say that.
It's thanks, Doug. At one point, hopefully, both of you can come and share your magic there and experience it, because it's every week just more magical things keep happening.
Are you giving that priority over maybe your other endeavors, your corporate gigs? Are you pursuing those as much, or even turning down that work to work the theater?
Definitely there's more happiness and like fulfillment that comes from the theater. Absolutely.
What about
yeah, obviously corporate gigs obviously pay a lot more for the time that you're there.
You're not splitting it either, right? You don't have you guys got 3 guys there.
Yeah, so the way that we work is that it's a partnership between the 3 of us, but we don't all need to be there every weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So we split the financials 3 ways, no matter who's there. So it's okay to go and do a gig or to bring someone else in because only one of us can be there. And we need
That's such a great model, I think. Especially if you're working professionals, if you're not committed to doing just the theater experience, you're like,
yeah. And it's like this coming weekend, I think is already sold out. Like people are really coming to see this show. Word of mouth is really going around, and on TripAdvisor, it's like a little bit of a scale we've been using to see how it's progressing. When we started this thing, there's 400 things listed to do in Brisbane, and now we're sitting at number 40 out of 400.
Dude, that's great.
Yeah, with like over 30 5-star reviews already, and they're all just like, it's just so awesome to read them. Like people have already come back again to see the show.
That was my question. Are they coming back? And that's a win.
Yeah. So there's a crazy story. This one guy, like we were sold out, but this one person really wanted to bring an extra person. So this guy called up and he's like, is there any chance of one more seat? And we explained, like, it's physically a small space. It's not like we're just like, it's sold out. It's like pretty hard to fit another seat. We fit another seat in for this guy. Really enjoys the show. And then 3 weeks later, buys like 10 tickets because he wants it to be the Christmas outing for like all his family.
Great.
So they all come out, and just because we helped them that one time, came full circle.
So that's the way to do it. Continual business is key, especially in our country. We don't have the luxury of like churning through audiences that only see us once. We want to see them twice within a 6-month period. Ideally, that's where the main growth that we have. How many times have you performed for Shell or IBM or whatever it might be? You know what I mean? Like you're great. We'll see you again next year. You're like, yes, we got a thing.
I think I talked about seeing Sean Farquhar speak on his theater experience, and he does really well with return visitors. And for me, that was great news that people want to come back. And I think his experience does invite that, but so does yours, because they might see a different show. There's different magi and so on.
Yeah, we have a close-up show and then a parlor show. 2 different magicians. So
I love that.
And there's 3 of us. So there's 6 versions of the show.
Right.
Yeah. Well, as this episode slowly comes to a close, I would like to ask us as a group, what are our goals for the Magic Guys podcast? Now, we was talking about this a couple of weeks ago. And I personally would like to do more history-based chats as point of topic. And what I mean by that is that I think it would be so cool to be like, gather around, kids. We're going to give you a full hour lesson on the history of Blackstone, and then just talk about Blackstone for a whole hour, so that when you leave the episode, you have a full, maybe we can't fit a whole person's life within this hour show, but I love the idea of being able to say, like, this is where this come from, and Harry gave up this idea and thought this idea, and then talk about Fu Manchu or talk about Dante and when Dante toured to Australia and things like that, And I like the idea of being able to share history with you guys, because I've had a lot of chats with you guys outside of this realm, and I know that you guys like the knowledge. So one of my goals that I would like to do this year with the podcast is to share more knowledge. And I think that history is a good way to do that, even if we talk about the history of the rope routine, and here's the history of rope. This is the first time rope routine was ever posted, and So, good, Ed. Thank you for your support. I'm glad you're into that, Ed. So,
I'm all in on this. Like history, let's go.
Yeah,
we could just do that all the time.
Yeah,
I think it's a.
Yeah. Go on.
Great. I think it's a great thing to cycle in with our episodes. Right, we have guests. we have our banter, which is great when we catch up, and we have Nick History.
I'll tell you something we could do along similar lines that I've had fun with on my lives is do like a trivia thing, maybe where we, ask the chat questions and see if anyone can get the answers, maybe hand in hand with the history.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just talk about the history of the cups and balls, the history of the double lift, whatever it might be. But I think that these are interesting topics of conversation that I don't think I'll have the capacity to do it every single week. And we have zero intention of doing it every single week because we love bringing you guests and we love bringing you hot topics and we love bringing you product reviews and things of that nature. But I think it'll be really cool to mix these in. And if you guys respond to it well and you enjoy it, then we will keep giving you guys what you want, because we want it to be a value add to your Magic lives.
Yeah, absolutely. We have, there's some other things we want to try and put in place throughout the year, but I guess we'll talk about them as we progress with it all. But
I have one more dream. I have one more dream for us.
Is it get David Williamson on here?
Yeah. Well, Dave said he'd be on the podcast happily. So he's great. Right. But
spoiler.
Yeah. So one of my dream for us, what I would love is to do the Magic Guys live. Now, hear me out. So imagine this. Like, you go to the Blackpool convention and you see stuff all day and you go to the dealer's room, but then in the evening, maybe at a bar or something, right? It's like everyone gets their drinks. We have a bar. We get our own stage. And then it's like Magic Guys live. Welcome to the show, friends. I used to be in a band. Everyone drinks. And then we interview people from the convention and we talk about products and we do this. And we do that for an hour. And then we do that like every night of the convention. Like, to me, that would be the coolest thing. Like, imagine doing that at like Magic Live in August. Like, if we made that happen, I would be like, oh, so great, Yeah.
I mean, and that's a reality. If, if the viewers, if you guys listening to this in your cars are attending to Magic Live and would like to see that, that's something we could try and do, I'm sure there are venues in Vegas that we could put on a live podcast, a live show. Get crazy with it.
I think that'd be so cool just to do it like the Magic Guys live. So
I'm in.
Yeah.
Look, even if there's no audience, even if it's just us three, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's all. We just go sit down at a table at the bar and get our mics out and just pot it up. Yeah.
I just realized. I like are we going to meet the first time, Doug? You and I in Magic Live.
I mean, that's my plan. Yeah.
And Doug and I. Sooner. Yeah. None of us have met Doug in real life yet. We're pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he's real and not AI, but it's still not confirmed.
No, there's been people in this house that can confirm it. Some of them have been in the chat. Maybe not tonight.
There is a theory that you are a Santa Claus if you watch last week's episode, Doug, but I don't want to point any fingers. Who said that?
That's true. We've never seen you in Santa.
Night? Have you watched this movie on Prime Video?
Yeah.
Violent Night?
Just the other day, actually. I watched it. Far out.
This movie. Yeah, I'm that guy. I'm that Santa Claus.
Yeah. So I've mentioned way too many things I wish for the podcast. Do you guys have any other thoughts that you would like to do, or the audience? Is there any things that you wish we would do? I think.
Yeah, look, I think if I'm just being totally honest, obviously we have merchandise, but I think, I made the original merch with sort of, me in mind, like what would be cool for me to own for the podcast, right? Like, my face on this and this and that, but it might not necessarily be the thing that you want to have it at your place. So I think this year we want to make some merch that is just fun to have, not necessarily the podcast.
I agree. As I'm going into like merch and making product, I'm thinking, what would people want to wear? And like, maybe I don't want my face on it. Just some cool magic thing on there, right?
Yeah.
A nice
so I want to definitely dive down that route. So you guys, if you do want to support the podcast, it's for something that you might actually wear or use, and find a drop shipping system that is more affordable for you guys, because we hardly, we've gone for the lowest kind of bracket you can to offer as a price, like without putting a big percentage of profit, but it's still a lot, because it's still like they have a base rate for a mug, and then you design and put your thing on top. And I noticed, not many purchasing going through for merch, but it's because we just got to find the right, synergy for it all.
You could also use that speak pipe and give us your ideas. Call us and say words, and we'll hear them, and then we'll do stuff with your words.
Yeah, that would be great. Send through, even if you don't want it played on the air, just say that first, and then just give us your thoughts for what you'd like to see coming up. But yeah, definitely some more fun merch. A live podcast, an actual live podcast would be great.
Yeah,
and just building up the community more. I love hearing these speak pipes come in of people I haven't met, and you guys are out there listening to the podcast. It's like the freaking coolest thing ever. Some more of that stuff.
Get the Discord going a little more. Put that address up now and again. See if people want to hang out, or at least that's another way for the community to drop feedback, give ideas, and so on.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think a good way to close out would be maybe a final word from Doug for the new year. How do you feel about that, Doug?
Yeah, I'll give a word. Sure.
All right, here we go.
So I'm going to go somber a little bit because I'll just get right to it. I lost a very good Magic friend yesterday. Talked to this man Friday. We had an online session last week, and the flu got him. And within a couple of days, like his last words on Facebook were, I'm going to ER. I'm going to be fine. And in the blink of an eye, a life was lost. So my final word to you is hug your loved ones and embrace your life and live every moment to the fullest. Have a happy new year, everyone.
Thanks for listening. It's time for us to disappear now. But we'll see you again on the next episode of The Magic Guys.